Autopsies of 4 of the 7 victims who died when the superyacht sank have been completed. It's interesting, some authorities are saying they died of asphyxia, others say they died of dry drowning. Again, there's this question, what are we talking about here? What really happened? CNN is referring to it as atypical drowning. The Times in the UK is referring to asphyxia in an air pocket as a result of breathing in carbon dioxide. But does that make sense?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. In this analysis, we're going to look at 5 new insights from the latest report. Surprisingly and quite counterintuitively, no water was found in the lungs of any of the first 4 autopsies. Although the Times speculates that this may mean all 4 died of asphyxia, which is exhausting all the oxygen in an air pocket until all that was left was carbon dioxide. Does that make sense? Because I'm not sure.
That's not entirely accurate.
Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Thank you for your many contributions. Thank you for your comments. By the way, I'll be following up this analysis with something I don't often do, even though I've written books about it. I'm going to be talking about the shooting at Appalachia High School in Georgia. It really does expose, in a way that I think we haven't really seen before, the true nature, the true profile of a lot of these perpetrators. And it also exposes the psychology of Thomas Crooks that I've been trying to communicate on my channel, I think in more detail and with greater clarity. So look out for that. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please like, share, leave a comment. You can also hit the thanks button and let's get started. So we're going to look at 5 insights from the latest report, starting with this idea of no water found in the lungs. Now, we have seen other drowning victims like Riley Strain, who fell in a river in Nashville. We saw that a few months ago. He had no liquid in his lungs either. And what they said then, this was in June 2024, it's possible that Strain could drown and not have water in his lungs. In other words, be in water, right? But be submerged in water, but not actually aspirate water, not actually inhale water. Number 2, the vessel tilted to the right after sinking. This inference from the Times is, in my opinion, accurate, right? The vessel tilted to the right after sinking. So to reiterate, it sank stern first and then tilted on its side to come into the position that it's currently found in. Number 3, all hatches were closed. That is according to the chief engineer. Parker Eaton has reportedly denied allegations that external doors were left open on the night of the storm, allowing water to flood the engine room. That's according to the Times. But if that's true, how and why did the Bayesian sink so rapidly? Let me put it another way. An open hatch would explain the rapid sinking. Suppose one could also say the keel could explain that as well, but that seems to suggest that the ship would tilt or capsize. I don't know if the keel explains the sinking from the stern side of the ship. And so we've got to ask, is Eaton's testimony reliable, or could there be some other explanation? Number 4, Cutfield confirmed the wind speed. So there is a consistent narrative between Griffiths, the 22-year-old sailor who was on watch duty at the time of the incident, and the captain, 50-year-old Cutfield. And so, quoting from the Times, Cutfield has been quoted by Italian media as telling investigators, Griffiths came to wake me, saying there were 20 knots of wind. I checked the instruments and it was effectively true. I went out immediately and asked that everyone was advised of this because I didn't like the situation. Now I have to say I don't like the words effectively true. It's either true or it isn't true, so why is he qualifying it? Was it 20 knots or wasn't it? How can it be effectively true? Now, again, I'm not sure that is entirely accurate. One reason to doubt the veracity of that statement is really from the other captain who said he estimated the wind as hurricane force winds of 12 Beaufort. By the way, I've been criticized for saying Karstenborn is Dutch. Yes, he was born in Germany, but he was based in Friesland in the Netherlands. He was operating a Dutch vessel, and I must say he sounds Dutch. So I guess both are correct. Then number 5, we were catapulted into the sea. Now, I don't think that is due to 20-knot winds. It seems to me to be due to a combination of very high winds and a craft that is not under control by its crew. And I do think the inference one draws is when the captain wakes up, there are slight winds blowing, it's no big deal, and then suddenly things get out of hand. I think that would be totally different if he wakes up into this storm situation. One's got to then say, what's going on with that? So it's really important to be clear whether the guy on watch did wake the captain up when there were 20-knot winds. And I do think the captain of the other boat might be able to confirm this. We are dealing with a situation that was sudden, but I think the crew of the Bayesian are going to be trying to make the case, possibly trying to make the case, especially those who are possibly culpable, that everything that happened was very sudden, but perhaps they're going to exaggerate it to be more sudden than it really was. I'm just saying that could be what is the case here. Of course, anyone who woke up into a storm is going to experience all of this as very sudden. Whereas if someone wakes up earlier, well, then you'll have more time to do something. Now, one could argue also that the storm was an act of God and that the conditions made it impossible for captain or crew to gain control. This also seems to be the explanation that the crew are giving. But again, the skipper of the Sir Robert Baden-Powell and his crew were able to do exactly that, gain control. Now, something else that I just want to bring to your attention, you may not be aware of this, the billionaire yacht owner's co-defendant died on the Saturday, 2 days earlier. So this yacht went down very early Monday morning, something like 4 o'clock, 10 past 4 in the morning. Well, 2 days earlier on a Saturday morning, the billionaire yacht's co-defendant in a high-profile trial in the USA, he died on Saturday. Also in somewhat unusual circumstances, he was jogging and he was run over, right? Now, this is an example of a correlation that is tempting to associate with the yacht tragedy, and many have actually done so. I actually received an email from someone helpfully informing me that there's a contest going on between billionaires trying to control the weather, and saying that they are taking one another out in order to become Earth's unofficial skywalker. There are literally people out there believing this, thinking this. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, according to the BBC, the co-defendant of British tech tycoon Mike Lynch has died after being hit by a car. Stephen Chamberlain, 52, was the former vice president of finance at Lynch's company, Autopsy, and he was also Mr. Lynch's co-defendant in his US fraud trial, in which both men were recently acquitted, following the $11 billion sale of the software giant Autopsy. Mr. Chamberlain died after being struck by the vehicle while out running in Cambridgeshire on Saturday. Mr. Chamberlain died in hospital after the crash on the A1123 at Streatham in Cambridgeshire at about 10:10 British Standard Time on Saturday. The driver of the car, a 49-year-old woman from Haddenham, remained at the scene and is assisting with injuries. Correlation does not, by default, equal causation. Thank you for listening. Don't miss my analysis on the Appalachia shooting, and I'll see you guys next time.